Yeah, what were you saying?
I was going to say that was not only informative, but it gave me a pleasurable sensation.
A pleasurable sensation. Hey everybody, welcome to another HPR reaction. I am Scott.
And I'm Sam.
And today we are going to be doing a reaction to something you guys have been wanting us to do for a very long time.
What's that?
And it's the story behind SB19.
The behind story of SB19?
Well,
really?
What I said, yes.
Yes, I saw that in the comments, and I want to thank you guys right away for sending us what to do, because we never know what we're up to.
We usually don't. But we're excited about this one because we have become quick fans of SB19. We've done a number of their videos. We've reacted to those. And so now, we've heard some things like, they started as kind of like this K-pop sort of band, or they were with a K-pop company or something along those lines.
K-pop.
And then they started their own company and yada, yada, yada. They're huge stars today.
They're very huge.
So we need to fill in all the yada, yada, yada stuff. And we think this is going to do it. You guys told us to go check this out. This is from Casual Chuck.
So apparently there are multiple episodes, and we're going to do one at a time.
That's right.
So stick with us. I think you'll enjoy them.
Yeah, and
we're looking forward to it.
We are, and I think you guys have most of you have probably seen some of his stuff already.
Sure.
And he seems to be a pretty big reactor or fan of SB19. So
yeah,
I'm sure we're going to get a lot of really good information. So the first one is called SB19 Story Episode 1, The Ultimate Soundbreak. I think this is a remake from one he did earlier. I think it was just called Soundbreak before. This is called The Ultimate
Yeah, this is the latest version.
Any rate, with that being said, let's get into it. Before we start though, please subscribe, comment, and like, and all that fun stuff, but
it really
definitely
helps
subscribe.
Us out. It keeps YouTube off our bay. Off our butt.
Off our, one of those things.
One of those. Hit it, man.
All right, so now we're getting excited. Here we go. The Ultimate Soundbreak, Episode 1.
Hit it already.
When you hear the words pop music and the best boy band, who comes to mind?
So many.
What if I told you that the most overlooked boy group in our generation might be these guys? In the last 6 years, these guys turned a small Korean entertainment company into a company that produced the greatest P-pop group ever.
Are you proud of SB19?
And you don't accomplish that without making a few enemies.
K-pop. Lima pala sila. K-pop pangit.
Some of them coming from unexpected places.
Pinoy ba daw? Parang may ginaya rin.
But behind the group are 5 driven men who were about to transform what was once a laughingstock genre in music into the fastest growing genre of the world.
Ever since we had this goal, and not just for us, but for the entire industry.
Feeling ko hindi pa natin nakukuha yung recognition na dapat para sa atin.
Between disbanding before they even debuted,
all hope is lost parang nung time na yun.
Becoming industry outcasts and getting bashed by their own countrymen.
Para magkaroon tayo ng grupo na hindi naman mga kataasan ng tangos ng ilong. Para talagang original.
Oo.
The rise of SB19 may not be the greatest Filipino success story ever.
Maganda kasi yung revenge kasi talaga yung success na ipapakita mo sa mga
Success is the best revenge, I agree.
But it certainly is the most inspiring one.
1, 2, 3!
Ow. That's a good opening, Casual Chuck.
Yeah, I like that.
Nice job.
Very pro.
This is called Triple, a group of talented performers and comedians from Korea you've probably never heard of.
Never heard.
They were formed back in 1994 when the word K-pop hasn't even been invented. In 2002, one of the members made the biggest mistake of his life, which will change the entire course of P-pop history. That member was Jong Song-han. It all started when he left the trio in 2002 to become an entrepreneur. Cult Triple became Cult 2. Most of their fans thought that Songhan's decision was a huge mistake because the remaining members started racking up different awards in the entertainment industry. If he only stuck around, he would have gotten those awards too. But this man's decision was final. He used all of his savings to build an event organizing company called ShowBT Entertainment. Today we know him as Tatang Robin. Fast forward to 2015. The fight of the century just happened. One Direction's Drag Me Down was all over the radio, and Big Bang was the biggest K-pop boy group.
Big Bang.
P-pop has top one project. Chances are, you have never heard of them. But somewhere in Makati, Philippines, an audition was held. Tatang Robin was looking for young talents who would be part of the package of their service as an event organizers. Talents who can perform on their own but can also serve as backup dancers and singers to their main performers. One of the main attractions of the SAT audition was if you're good enough, you might just debut as a member of ShowBT's first ever P-pop group to undergo a Korean-style training. Filipinos don't get opportunities like that so often, so hundreds of talents applied, but only 30 made it as trainees. They were initially called the ShowBT Musical Gala Team, but then later dubbed as Nara, which in Korean means country and also happens to be the national tree of the Philippines. If you're a fan who is deep into the P-pop scene, you would recognize some of the future P-pop stars, but one of the most notable ones is this guy. On the first day of training...
Okay, so that's interesting. The guy who started the label that ended up having SB19 on was from a comedy troupe. He left the troupe to start his own label, which I thought was really interesting. And then they went on to success anyway.
My curiosity is with there was three of them, I guess.
Right.
I don't know if they sang, if it was like a comedy singing group, or if it was like just a comedy group. Who knows?
Hard to tell with what we have to go with right now.
Yeah, but it is interesting that he's taken all his money. He quit that thing, and of course all the awards started coming in for the other two. But I have a feeling he's gonna have the last laugh.
Oh, the last one.
Because he's starting this whole K-pop training type of thing in the Philippines,
right?
Which has never been done before. So
no, but that's pretty cool.
But I think it is a great idea, and we don't have that here. Do we have that here?
Yeah,
is there
I think
something
we used
similar?
to have that.
I don't remember an industry where they were like, "Hey, we need a bunch of people to come in. We're gonna test you, and you're gonna go through this academy." I mean, we have schools.
Yeah, we don't
that
have
do that, but not
actually processes like that.
Yeah.
But back in the day, networks used to make up bands and have their own shows.
Oh,
There's one
sure.
called the Monkees.
Yeah.
That were really big in the 60s.
Yeah. Yeah, and they had auditions and stuff for those.
They
roles,
auditioned
of course,
100,000 guys.
Yeah, it's just interesting. But yeah, let's continue.
On the first day of training,
Pablo.
one guy stood out because he was just alone standing awkwardly in the corner.
Nung una, ang weird niya kung nagsasalita mag-isa.
He was facing the wall and making hand gestures as if he was rapping in front of it.
Nakatayo siya sa gilid. Biglang gaganon. Sabi ko, anong ginagawa na? Nagre-ritual ba ta sa gilid?
That guy was John Paulo.
John Paulo.
He always wanted to be a performer. As a young dreamer, he joined several competitions as a soloist and also as a member of the K-pop dance cover group called PHP. In training, he was the guy who shows up early and leaves late despite juggling a full-time job as a data analyst to help provide for his family. He was selected due to his undeniable diligence and leadership qualities. He is known to have critically acclaimed songwriting ability. Some of my sources even said that he had already written dozens of songs at this time. He's also a badass rapper and was often called a genius, but consistently denied it because he claimed to be just a hard worker.
Humble.
This made him the destined leader of the group. He was known as Sejin at the time, but later would be known as Pablo.
So his real name
30
is not
trainees
Pablo.
are a lot of trainees.
Uh,
It would take a
apparently, yeah.
very observant person with an eye for talent to notice Pablo in that corner. So who was that observant person with an eye for talent? Well, he was also a trainee. Stelvester Ahero.
Sylvester, I like
He
that
was
name.
only a kid when he started competed as a performer. As a dancer, he racked up win after win on a national level with his school crew and became their official choreographer, teaching crewmates 2 to 3 years older than him. He later joined a dance crew called Seon and went on to win international titles.
Wow.
Stel
Nice.
obviously worked so hard. Amidst his studies and competitions, he also worked part-time as a McDonald's service crew and teaching dance to
Really?
kids with special needs. There was
Aw.
a point that he worked too hard that he wound up in the hospital. His poor health caused him to lose his earnings and nearly his life. Fortunately, he was able to recover. This made him the obvious choice to become the choreographer of the group. But little did they know that dancing wasn't his only talent. As a kid, he joined the school choir to become the only male soprano and only improved as he gotten older. He easily became the main heavenly voice of the group because his vocals were just
Jeez Louise.
out of this world. Unlike Pablo, Stel was very friendly to everyone. In fact, one of his closest friends also auditioned and made it as a trainee. This friend is nothing to be trifled with because having the worst upbringing among the others made him the strongest when it comes down to pure guts and determination. Josh Cullen Santos. He left home at the age of 16 and it was his decision. From growing up in a toxic environment to being physically abused as a kid by their nanny. I'm
Oh.
talking about getting poured candle wax all over their body.
Oh, no.
At an early age, he experienced what it felt like to be a member of a middle-class family that went rock bottom in just a matter of months. They got evicted from medium-sized apartments to increasingly smaller rooms. It came to a point when his family had nothing to eat with rice but ketchup and salt. They had no permanent address. Because of that, Josh and his sister dropped out of school multiple times, so they got bullied at school for being repeaters. Sometimes he would even get into fistfights for defending her. Josh had enough of this, so he decided to leave to become independent and started working as an internet cafe attendant. Using his own income, he took the alternative learning system to attain his high school degree. He initially had no
Good for him.
background in performing. Not until he found Stel performing with his dance group called Seon. Josh became an instant fan, and when they connected, Stel became his mentor, which led to them becoming co-members, and they went on to win numerous K-pop dance cover competitions all over Asia. They even met BTS during one of their winning runs in Korea.
Oh, nice.
So from champions to trainees. What else is in store for them?
That's cool. So I find it interesting, first of all, the story of Josh, that's devastating. I can't imagine anybody living in a household that's abusive and toxic and things like that. Luckily, I didn't grow up that way. I did grow up we were poor, but we didn't have, that toxic kind of environment. And luckily, I wasn't made fun of or anything either, but
Oh, I was, yeah. I
Yeah,
was very poor. We were so poor that it was not fun to be a kid, especially because the other kids I went to school with were well off in
Yeah.
that area.
Yeah.
And, I was constantly made fun of for that kind of thing.
yeah.
But, plus coming from an abusive home. But I'm not going to delve into that right
But you can, so you have an idea.
I have
of,
an idea,
like
yeah.
what he wanted to, what he was going through.
But not candle wax, for God's sake.
No, that's horrible. And the fact that he left when he was 16 years old
Yeah.
to kind of be on his own, I mean, that's like, well, you couldn't do that here.
Couldn't do that.
You couldn't do that here.
Gotta do it.
You gotta
do
be,
it.
you gotta be hiding. any rate, it really does speak to perseverance, taking control of your life, even though you've only known something bad. The fact that he was able to turn it around, become successful. He got his high school degree. It's really inspiring. It's really inspiring.
I really relate to his story because I had a similar upbringing. Again, not with the candle wax or anything.
Yeah.
But I lived in a home that was not comfortable. And when I turned old enough to go to college, I went away to college.
Yeah.
Never moved back and decided to forge my own life.
Yeah.
So I understand totally where he's coming
And
from.
you became a part of a P-pop band. You became very successful as a dancer, a
That's
rapper,
right,
singer.
I did. Although I was in bands, yes, I was a professional
That's true.
musician.
That's true.
But not that
No.
professional.
And then, of course, Stell just being an awesome dancer and
Yeah.
having a good eye for talent, hooking up with I think they said with Pablo, right? And kind of joined forces and all of them at this point, I suppose.
That's right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Look there, all three of them are there.
Then on, their lives became all about performing in small events and training.
We had one mentor when we were training. Tapos, more on personality development siya. Tapos, presenting ourselves on stage.
We had no idea that the Korean-style training they went through
It's far, far from what they've been doing sa Korea.
was nothing but a mere marketing strategy.
But yung skill-wise, parang ganun. We were left on our own.
Oh, that's why.
They were left alone to fend for themselves,
Why?
sharing knowledge to improve each other with the hope of making the cut. Some sources told me that Pablo had to record some of their vocal sessions to effectively coach his co-trainees. All of that without salary. This went on for roughly a couple of years, and I don't know about you guys, but this for me sounded kind of brutal.
Yeah.
It's not easy to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again without any form of guidance. They were also kept in the dark about their debut date. So frustration started brewing until it reached the point when it only took one trigger to call it quits. On one seemingly normal training day, all trainees were already in the studio, except for Josh. On the same morning, the train broke down.
Nasira yung MRT during that time. Nasira yung MRT.
Sinuspindi ang operasyon ng MRT dahil sa power outage.
It wasn't really an accident, but this would still worry anyone, especially the trainees, because it's highly unusual for Josh to miss training. Later that morning, Josh arrived. His co-trainees felt relieved because Josh turned out to be safe. You would think that their company would react the same way, right? Wrong. They decided to terminate his training.
Na-late ako, tapos tinanggal ako.
That was the trigger.
Doon tinanggal po ako, nag-quit din yung mga grupo ko. Nag-quit din sila kasi parang naging trigger na point na kung tatanggalin mo si Josh.
Umalis kami sa grupo.
Ganun mo lang kadali itapon yung lahat ng efforts and passion tsaka dreams namin.
Show BT had two choices: to keep all trainees or to keep no trainees. The company chose the latter.
Why?
Wow.
Everyone left except for Stell.
Parang si Stella lang yung naiwan po nun talaga sa training room. Tapos talagang down na down lahat.
Si Stel natira kasi doon during that time.
Stell set aside all his frustration and remained focused on his goal, while
I get
Pablo
it.
was devastated.
All hope is lost parang nung time na yun.
In Josh's case, we can only imagine the pain he must have felt to have been booted out of his dreams. Days passed, everyone still feeling down about that incident. Then Pablo's phone receives a message.
Brother, bumalik ka na, brother.
It was Josh. Out of all the trainees, the guy that got sent packing was the same guy who actively convinced everyone to continue chasing their dreams. Perhaps this was the sheer guts and determination from his life experiences in full display. Pablo hurried back to the studio to find Stell alone. But not for long. Josh came back next and took the initiative to convince the company to have them back.
Pumunta lang po ako doon at syempre kung kinakailangan na makiusap.
So back to training, they went.
Hindi na lang magkahiwalay ng grupo, pero bumalik sila kasi hindi nila ako inuman.
There was only 3 of them for a while. Then a few other trainees started coming back. So Show BT put together a talent workshop to get more talents to keep the business going. This was batch 1. This was batch 2.
Target locked.
Justin de Dios. He got scouted right away because he was a very good-looking guy and already was a decent singer and dancer. When he joined, he immediately saw a familiar face in Josh.
You look familiar. As do you.
Apparently, Josh told Justin about the workshop because the two already had a stint performing together in a dance cover group called Zero to Hero. So Justin as well wasn't new in the world of performing. He auditioned to be a part of the televised Pinoy boy band Superstar, but he didn't even make it to the live auditions. Perhaps it was fate. That group is nowhere to be found today. Justin obviously deserved better. He went on to finish his college degree in multimedia arts while training, which earned him a filmmaking skill that would prove very crucial to their success in the future.
Oh, makes sense.
So
yeah.
now
With Justin on board, this completed their prototype boy group.
Paradox.
It's composed of Justin, Pablo, Stel, Josh, Zeno, Kurt, and JP. They did multiple test runs leading up to their entry to Pinoy K-Pop Star 2017. They performed B-Day by Icon in an epic fashion, but they didn't win. At this point, Show BT seemed to have hit a roadblock. The group felt like something was missing. I don't exactly know what happened to Zeno, Kurt, and JP. They either quit or Show BT felt the need to let go of them and get someone who could take this already great group of guys and push them to achieve the next level. The extraordinary level. This years in the making project of Show BT needed to reach its peak. So they started the online auditions. When Josh heard about it, he was like, I know a guy. The guy he was talking.
All right, before we get to the ending run here, just real quick. So for me, just that part alone where the guys all quit in solidarity,
That's awesome.
shows you how close-knit they are. They already saw how talented each other were and were like, if you go, I go. And they kind of, I think at that point is probably where when they knew these are the people I want to work with for the rest of my life. So
you start to get an idea.
Yeah.
You meet somebody, you work with them, you develop a certain kind of bond.
Yeah.
And then if everything really works out right, you end up wanting to work together for a very long time.
Totally.
Right, Scotty?
That's sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes out of, so they didn't really come out and say it specifically, but I think Josh got back in too. So all the guys got back in.
Yeah.
Because he's apparently there in some of the
Yep.
footage.
Uh-huh.
So he must have done some really good pleading.
He did.
I don't know
because he
what-
got everybody back eventually.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. And then, because we've been told too that, when we first started doing SB19 and we heard that they started their own company and we loved their the first video we saw was like that epic CGI. Damn. They said that SB19 has their own control over the creative part of it. So now it all kind of makes sense because Justin, he graduated from college with, I think, what was it, a film degree or multimedia?
Degree,
Something along those lines. So now it's kind of like coming into shape like, oh, this is what you guys were talking about.
This is really explaining a lot about how they ended up where they are.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. It really is.
Yeah, let's go on.
The guy he was
Flaming horse,
talking
I love
about
it.
was a pain in his butt because their groups have clashed multiple times in their early dance competitions and their battles were always neck and neck. That guy's name was Philip John Suson.
Philip.
He was such a specimen. He was so
He
naturally
was such a
gifted
specimen.
that excelling in sports looked like a walk in the park for him. He grew up in the church under the care of his grandparents. He was an artistic kid, so he was active as an editorial cartoonist in school.
Wow.
Nobody taught him how to play musical instruments.
Is he left-handed?
He taught himself by just listening to the music, so he ended up becoming a southpaw guitarist, but he later then fixed it as he learned more. He was also a gifted singer as a kid. Every time there was a family gathering, he was always forced to sing karaoke by his relatives. But when he hit puberty, he lost confidence in his voice because he could no longer hit high notes. But his confidence came back after being mentored by Pablo, who taught him how to harness his unique low voice that seemingly sounds like it came from the underworld. When it comes to dance, he didn't know he could do it until he was forced to in order to get good grades during their school intramurals. After discovering dance, he transformed from a guy who didn't know it to someone who can fly. Because of his raw talent, he ended up teaching dance to the entire school and continued on to join the dance group called Amigo 7, a would-be rival of Josh and Stel's crew, Seyon. It quickly became a reverse if you can't beat them, then join them kind of deal. So Josh recruited Ken. But there was a problem. He was hundreds of islands away and didn't have the money. What did Josh do? He shelled out for his plane ticket. With nothing else to lose, Felipe went and left his previous life in the countryside. He then trained with the boys and officially debuted with them as Ken, the main dancer, the bass vocalist, and the lead rapper of the group. One thing to note is that they were an unlikely bunch because they wouldn't have met each other if Tatang Robin stayed with his already successful group in Korea. Justin didn't make it in his first audition, so he almost didn't try again until Josh told him to do so. And Ken wouldn't even have the opportunity to join if the ShowBT trainees didn't come back after that quitting incident. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the butterfly effect. When a small and seemingly insignificant occurrence has a rippling effect through time, leading to a consequential event sometime long after the initial event. Or as Google would put it, the phenomenon whereby a minute localized change in a complex system can have large effects elsewhere. Tatang Robin's so-called mistake back in 2002 led to forming the future P-pop Kings. In 2018, SB19 was formed. The name of the group was carefully picked. The number 19 is the sum of Korea and the Philippines country code digits, 82 and 63. So 8 plus 2 plus 6 plus 3 is 19. If you subtract both numbers, you also get the same result. SB doesn't only mean ShowBT. It is also about their ultimate goal for Pinoy sound to break into the music industry, which is fearlessly represented by this phrase: Soundbreak.
Wow. That's what that means? Interesting.
Yeah. Well, that was informative. Which...
hold on. I just want to make sure you think we give props to everything he did. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Really.
Yeah, what were you saying?
I was going to say that was not only informative, but it gave me a pleasurable sensation.
A pleasurable sensation. Yeah, you know what? I don't know what Casual Chuck's background is, but he did a really nice job with this. As somebody, you know, two guys who have done this for a living, this was really well done. It was really well done.
It was good. It was almost, you know, network television.
Nicely laid out. Yeah, everything was really, really well done.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And you can tell he's a big fan. You can tell he's a big fan of this group.
Definitely.
And how can you not be after hearing that story? I mean, the way that they came together, the whole butterfly effect. I get the whole butterfly effect thing because, you know, that goes back to, it works for everybody. Like if I had not taken the job at TV Guide Network or TV Guide Channel way back in the day, and then they gave me a choice to which show I wanted to work on, and I said, well, let's go work on this close-up show, which was a celebrity biography show, which in turn made me do You Were My Editor.
That's right.
So had I not picked that show and I picked the other one, I may not have ever even met Sam.
Regardless of what I wanted, they made me do it. So I'm with him because I was forced into it.
That's a good point. You didn't have a choice. I did.
And I appreciate that
But
because
that's-
it gives me a pleasurable sensation.
Well, and here we are today.
Yeah, that's who
because of that butterfly effect way back when. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, all of the guys are talented in their own way. I love how they all kind of came together. It makes sense now, like how they kind of formed, and
really gives you an insight of how they ended up where they ended up. And this is only episode 1, so
I know.
we're going to find out more about what goes on until they become who they are now.
But I think it also comes to like how encouraging all of the members are. Like if it weren't for Pablo, a lot of these guys, they wouldn't be together. Or Josh forking out money to get Philip to come out and be a part of the band. I mean, that's just them looking after each other on such an early stage too.
And
You can only imagine how close they are now.
And I don't sense any kind of jealousy or envy. It's all teamwork, and I really admire that, not only about them, but about the entire Philippine music scene. It's just, I don't see any kind of that rivalry like I do in some other places and genres.
Certainly. Anyway, I love this. This was a great starting point. Again, there's at least 7 of these. There's multiple. So we'll keep going through them. Thank you again to Casual Chuck. Great job, like we said. And we're looking forward to the next one. What should they do before they go, Sam?
They should subscribe, like, send, receive, give us money, whatever you want to do.
Okay,
just
you don't have to give us money.
No money? All right. Whatever you want to do is fine, as long as you subscribe.
As long as you subscribe, that's right. That's
and
right.
like and share.
All right.
And comment.
Mainly subscribe.
Most, yeah.
We're going to shut up now.
Whatever.